Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. I'm Melissa if you haven't been here before. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be playing with the Grandeur palette from the Dark Blooms collection. Just trying it out and seeing what we think about it. I also have one of the blushes to try out as well with this palette. So, like I said, we're just going to see what we think about it, see what kind of look we can come up with, and if that's something you want to see, then just keep watching. Alright, I'm taking off my glasses. I've already done my brows as usual with the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil in Deep Brown. And I did my, prime my eyes with the Milani Eye Primer again. So that is all I did before I got on camera. And now we're going to get into the Grandeur palette. And I'm going to take Velvet right here. And I'm going to put that as my crease, as my transition shade. A nice neutral brown. This is blending out really nice. The only thing about using the Milani Eye Primer is when I use a light transition shade, you can't tell where the transition shade stops because of my skin tone color, if it's close to my skin tone color. So that's why I like having something that kind of blanks it out. I need to try a shade that's not shimmery of the Sigma eye base. I need to get that. I just placed an order with 2 orders with Sigma. Actually, I should have bought it while I was on their website. Okay, I was about to just go ahead and do it without telling you what I'm doing. I'm going into Mode, and I'm going to put that in the outer corner of my eye. I don't know about you if you have hooded eyes, but I always have a hard time if I just want to get right on the lid, getting on the lid where I have all those wrinkles for my hooded eyes. It makes it seem when you raise your eye like that's part of your lid when it's actually part of your crease, and I don't know, it's just confusing because it looks like it's your lid when you got it this way, you got all your lid this way. And then when you raise your eyebrow, it looks like you missed some of your lid. So it's really confusing, but it drives me crazy because I'll sit there and go over it and go over it, and then I'll be like, well, I don't know, that doesn't look like I got all my lid. I'm just going to go into Haas. It's a lighter shimmer shade, and I'm just going to put that on the other half of my lid. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm going to put Lavish in the middle of my lid, and then I'm going to put Haas in the inner part of my lid. So perfect. Alright, and like I said, I'm going to go into Haas, and I'm going to put that on the very inner part of my lid. Taking a cotton round with some micellar water, and I'm going to clean up if there's any fallout in my edges over here. I'm going to take, I got a little sample of the Tarte Base Tape Primer. And I'm going to use that to prime my face. I've never used this before, I don't think. But it's supposed to be just a hydrating primer. Smells good. Smells kind of coconutty or beachy. That's soaked in really nice. Alright, so I'm taking the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in light beige. I really, really like this foundation. It kind of got pushed to the back of my foundations, and I've been trying all these other foundations. I hadn't used this in a while. And I just put a little bit where it's got that dropper. I put a little bit on my hand and put it on my face from there. And I'm blending it out with my Sigma multitasker brush. Alright, so I'm taking the Milani Retouch and Erase Light Lifting Concealer. Kind of has this little spongy tip on here. That's a little, I don't know, not ideal. But I'm just going to kind of get the product on my eye and go from there. And I'm going to take my concealer brush and I'm going to blend that out. I'm taking the number 7 powder in light. I'm going to use that to set my concealer. Alright, so I'm going to use the Nomad Cosmetics Kiss of Sun palette. And I'm going to take this Manly Beach right here and I'm going to put some color on my face, bronze my face up. And I got this in an Ipsy, but I did check and you can buy it on Nomad Cosmetics website. I'm going under my chin and I'm going down my neck. Alright, now we're going into the Colourpop Pressed Powder Blush in Chase. Or Chase, you can say it either way, I believe. And I'm just gonna dab a little in and put this on my cheeks. And I'm only just tapping in a couple of times to make sure I don't overdo it. And I went over my nose just with what was left over on my brush, so I think this is a really, really pretty blush. Kind of that peachy orangey tone. It's not just your normal mauvey pink. And I'm going back into this palette and I'm going to try out this Balmoral Beach, this lighter highlighter. And see, I don't think I've ever tried it before. I don't think I've tried the highlighters. I think I've just used the bronzers in here. So I'm going to try that out and see what I think. Oh, that's pretty. Going over my brow, over the other brow, going down my nose, Cupid's bow, and chin. Alright, that's pretty. I'm going to take this dusk shade and I'm going to put that on my lower lash line. And I'm putting Haas, I'm going to put that in my inner corner as my inner corner highlight. Alright, I'm going to hop off here, throw on some Thrive Cosmetics mascara, and I'll be right back. Alright, for my lips, I'm going to go in with Propa Beauty in Focused. I'm going to throw that on my lips. I'm going to use my Milani Fruit Fetish Make It Last Mango Coconut Setting Spray. And I'm going to spray my face real quick. Alright, well this is the final look using the Grandeur palette. Show it to you one more time. But it's a really, really pretty palette. It's the only one that has a pressed glitter in it in the Dark Blooms collection. And it only has one pressed glitter. You have 3 shimmers, 3 mattes, and two of the sequin shades, the one that's matte with the glitter in it, micro glitters in it. I really enjoyed using this palette. I love the shades that I used. The shimmer shades are beautiful. I think that if I use some of the other shades, it would be beautiful as well. This Need shade, it looks a lot like the shade that I use in the Baroque palette as my shimmer. But that girl Shay swatched them and it seemed like they were a little bit different. I can't remember exactly what the difference was. That's why I didn't use that shade. I was tempted to use that shade, but I decided to use a different shade since that one's similar at least to the shade that's in the Baroque palette. Let me get it and I'll show it to you. Alright, it is a little different. This one seems to have more red. This one seems to have more blue. But let me see if I can get them close to each other to where... This is the Baroque shade and this is the Grandeur palette. So hopefully y'all can see that good. Kind of the difference between the two shades a little bit. Let me swatch them too. That way if you're interested in this palette or any of these palettes, wanting to get these two, that way you know whether it's the same or not. Alright, so these are the swatches. I don't know how great they are, but you got the one from the Grandeur palette and then you have the one from the Baroque palette. The one from the Baroque palette seems to have more navy blue and maroon. This one seems to have more of a brown and of a kind of teal shade. So they are different but similar. But back to the Grandeur palette. I think it's a great palette if you like pressed glitters, because if you don't like pressed glitters, I don't know if it's worth the 8 shades in here just to, you know, have those 8 shades, especially if you don't like the sequence formula, because that takes out 3 shades. So you just have 7, or no, you just have 6. So it's a real pretty palette, and I think I'm going to get some use out of it, but I don't think it's necessarily a need, especially if you, well, you don't need really any makeup, any of the palettes that I talked to you about, but if you're wanting this, it's not necessarily something to run out and grab. In my opinion, I do think that it's a cute color story. I do like that shade Need, but other than that, it's just some browns and a pressed glitter, a gold pressed glitter. Oh no, it has a black in it, excuse me. It does have a black. But I do think that it's real good in the range from light to dark shades, because like I was able to use the lightest shade in my crease, then I used the medium dark shade in my outer corner because there's a darker shade than that. So, and then I used this one underneath my lower lash line. So there is some really great variance from light to dark in here. I do appreciate that. So I think this is a good palette, but it's not something you need to run out and grab, like I said. So the blush though is really pretty. I like the color. I'm thinking that there was a color like this before, but I don't think it was like totally like this. I think it was just kind of a peachy tone. And I might just be spacing and be wrong, but I do love this blush. I think it's a beautiful shade and I'm excited to keep using it. I love the Colourpop blushes, especially their pressed powder blushes. I love their Super Shock blushes as well, but I really love their pressed powder blushes. But anyways, I really enjoyed these two products that I played with today, and I hope you liked the video. If you did, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love for you to become a part of our family here. Also, ring the bell so you can be notified whenever I upload my amazing content. And I think that's going to be all for me. I hope you are staying happy, staying healthy, taking care of yourselves, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.